Sharks have been around almost since the beginning of life on Earth. Sharks have seen the beginning and the end of the dinosaurs. Sharks existed before trees evolved. Today, they are apex predators of the sea. But how did they get there? What is their history? And how did they evolve and adapt to their environment? I aim to answer that question today. 4,500 million years ago in the Silurian era, the shark's ancestor evolves into existence. Its name is Acanthodian. It goes by other names, such as spiny sharks and Acanthodi. Acanthodian was not a single species, rather a group of fish. These fish developed the key characteristics of a shark, such as a cartilaginous skeleton and a shark's physical characteristics. These traits would be carried on to the next species. Fast forward to the late Devonian period, 375 million years ago. Sharks start to diversify. Our first specimen is named Cladsilake. 5.9 feet long, streamlined body and fin spines, the standard shark body shape begins to appear. Its eyes are up front and almost touching the tip of its snout. Cladsilake also has fin spines. These were lightweight and assisted it in swimming. The next shark in the late Devonian period we will take a look at is Xenacanthus. Xenacanthus is an odd fellow. At first glance, it doesn't quite look like a shark. Instead of 2 pectoral fins, Xenacanthus has 4 paddles. Instead of a dorsal fin, it has 1 long sail running down its spine. And in the place of a caudal fin, there's a longer paddle. And lastly, there's a spike on its head. What good does that head spike do? We don't really know what it did for sure, but most scientists speculate that the spike was poisonous, akin to modern stingrays. Our third and final shark in the late Devonian period is Stethocanthus. Stethocanthus was 2.3 feet long and had a very different fin from most other sharks. It was shaped like an anvil. This fin also had a spine brush on it. Another spine brush can also be found on the top of the head. What did this spine brush do? There are a few theories. Theory number 1, the spine brush was inflatable. Theory number 2, it was used in attracting a mate, or the process of mating, which we will not be getting into. Stethocanthus also has fin tassels, or whips, on the end of the pectoral fin. The purpose is unknown, and it may have been used for mating also, which we will still not get into. We have reached the Carboniferous era, sometimes referred to as the Golden Age of Sharks. Sharks dominated the oceans. It was then that sharks split into subspecies like rays, skates, and chimeras. The Carboniferous era gave birth to some of the most abstract sharks ever to swim the earth. Only 30 centimeters long, Falcatus is the first shark I will mention in the Carboniferous era. As long as a ruler, big eyes, and a strange horn atop its head, similar to Xenacanthus. Why were its eyes so big, and what did that horn do? Its eyes are easy. They were big to assist in deep water hunting. The horn is a bit harder to find out. The horn was only present on males, however, so it was most definitely for display to attract mates. Edestus is one of the biggest sharks in the Carboniferous era, if not the biggest. 19 feet long, Edestus is menacing. Also called the scissor-toothed shark, Edestus has a unique jaw. Its jaws were like a giant pair of pinking scissors. Edestus may have evolved to vertically thrash its prey, cutting it like scissors. An alternate theory to Edestus's method of attack is that it slammed into its prey at a high speed, killing it almost instantly.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Allowing Edestus to eat at its own leisure. The position of its teeth made it like a serrated battering ram, but also would have added water resistance, making it need to expend more energy in order to get food. We have come to the Permian period. This is the last period of the Paleozoic era. Currently, the climate is cold from the Ice Age at the end of the Carboniferous, and is starting to warm up and recover. Helicoprion is our first shark of the Permian period. Helicoprion is easily recognizable and is one of the better known prehistoric sharks. It has a lack of teeth on its upper jaw, and who could forget its buzzsaw tooth whorl on its bottom jaw? The rest of Helicoprion looks like your average shark, albeit 24 feet long. What was the tooth whorl's purpose? Its tooth whorl looks like a buzzsaw, so maybe it works similar to a buzzsaw. That is one theory, that it rasped ammonite shells in a saw-like manner. However, since there is little wear on these teeth, Helicoprion may have fed on cephalopods, like octopi and jellyfish. Our second specimen in the Permian period is Sarcoprion. Sarcoprion is similar to Helicoprion. In fact, it's actually related to Helicoprion. Its snout was much longer than Helicoprion, almost like present-day swordfish. Instead of the full circular saw, Sarcoprion has only half of the saw shape, and its tooth whorl is at the front of the lower jaw, whereas Helicoprion's is closer to its maw. Because of the shape of its rostrum, it is thought that it was speedy, so Sarcoprion may have fed it on faster fish. Its tooth whorl most likely was used to rub against unfortunate victims caught within its jaws. It is the end of the Permian period. The temperature did not stop rising, and the land has turned into a desert wasteland. The Permian period ended in the biggest extinction event in history, even bigger than the end of the dinosaurs, making 95% of marine life and 70% of terrestrial life extinct. Despite the catastrophic calamity, the sharks hung on, but the age of the dinosaurs brought bigger contenders for the ocean. Sharks would lay low until the time was right, for the spotlight had gone to the marine reptiles like Mosasaurus, Plesiosaurs, and Liopleurodon. I couldn't find an interesting shark from the Triassic, so let's check in on Xenacanthus. Still alive and doing well. Good on you, buddy. We have a peculiar species. This one is from the Jurassic. Hybotus is its name, and horns are its game. Although only 6.5 feet, it has actually existed since the Permian period. Hybotus is similar to modern-day horn sharks, except Hybotus doesn't feed on crustaceans and mollusks, and was much bigger. The spikes on its fins were most definitely for defense from predators like Liopleurodon. We can assume since horn sharks have similar horns on their fins, they would serve the same purpose. The Cretaceous is when recognizable sharks began to appear, such as goblin sharks and frilled sharks, and filter feeders like whale sharks and basking sharks. We also have two more now extinct shark species to cover in this time period. Squalocorax was very similar to the modern-day great white. Squalocorax was actually the great white's ancestor. It was 16 feet long and looked like your standard shark, albeit one that ate dinosaurs, as found by a hadrosaurid skeleton with a Squalocorax tooth embedded in it. Although Squalocorax was big compared to us, it was but a minnow compared to the Tylosaurus and Mosasaurs that predated on it. Squalocorax was a scavenger, staying away from conflict. Cretoxyrhina is our second and last shark in the Cretaceous we will cover. Cretoxyrhina is also similar to the great white. It too is an ancestor to the great white like Squalocorax. It was 22 feet long and a fearsome predator. It was near the top of the food chain and ate almost anything that crossed its path. Xiphactinus, Archelon, and other sharks were on its menu. Even mosasaurs were fair game for Cratoxyrhina. In its arsenal, it had teeth like Ginsu knives, hence the name Ginsu shark. These teeth could cut through almost anything, just like the advertisement for Ginsu knives. These teeth had thick enamel, suggesting that they were used to cut through thick shells and bones. Its tail has also adapted to swim faster. 65 million years ago, the empire of the dinosaurs had fallen. Whether it be by asteroid, spike in volcanic activity, or something else, dinosaurs went extinct along with the flying and marine reptiles. Mosasaurs and plesiosaurs were no more. With the apex predators out of the picture, the sharks took the opportunity and seized the title of apex predator with the biggest shark to ever swim the seas. Enter the Megalodon. It is the early Cenozoic. A whale is taking a leisurely swim close to the surface, catching some krill and enjoying being alive, unaware it has become prey to something bigger. Suddenly, it feels a hard slam in its chest as it's flown upward into the air. When it hits the water again, it sinks a little. It's incapacitated, deprived of energy. All it could do was watch as Megalodon delivered the killing blow. Megalodon doesn't have mega in its name for nothing. It was a gargantuan 65 feet long, bigger than Tyrannosaurus rex, Spinosaurus, and even the biggest mosasaurs. Its maw was filled with teeth 18 centimeters long. Fun fact, Megalodon teeth were thought to be the tips of dragon tongues hundreds of years ago. Megalodon had the strongest bite force of any animal on Earth. 182,000 newtons is more than 3 times as much as T-Rex's bite force, which was 56,000 newtons. Megalodon looked like that of a great white shark, aside from the astronomical size difference. Megalodon's diet consisted of mostly whales and some seals and dolphins here and there. Its attack plan is simple. Step 1, locate target. Step 2, dive deep into the abyss. Step 3, propel itself at maximum speed towards the belly of the target. Step 4, slam the belly of the target and incapacitate it. Step 5, deliver a killing blow. Step 6, eat at your own leisure. Although Megalodon was one of the deadliest creatures ever to exist, it still had competition. That competition's name was Leviathan. Leviathan was a sperm whale that grew up to 57 feet. Its name derived from the fictional sea monster called Leviathan. Leviathan's diet consisted of the same things as Megalodon, so conflict was bound to happen. If Megalodon wanted any chance for their young to survive, they would need a safe place to live out their childhoods. Megalodon gave birth to live young. These newborn pups grew up in shallow waters and preyed upon pretty much anything they could catch, like fish, cephalopods, turtles, and etc. It seemed like Megalodon was almost invulnerable, but all things come to an end. It wasn't one single event that killed it, rather an ensemble of events conspiring against Megalodon. The first event to bring down the empire of Megalodon was global cooling. It is believed that Megalodon kept warm through gigantothermy, which means being warm by being big. In order for this to work, however, creatures need a steady calorie intake. The colder the water, the more calories Megalodon would need. With the temperature lowering globally, more and more ice formed. Another disaster for Megalodon was the creation of the Isthmus of Panama. This closed the Central American Seaway, an essential part of the migration route for whales. The rest of the whales Megalodon fed on moved to colder regions and adapted to withstand the cold environment. Megalodon could not adapt as easily. Megalodon was too slow for smaller prey, and even then, smaller prey would not provide enough nutrients. The lowering sea levels also destroyed most of the megalodon breeding grounds and nursery areas. Megalodon was overwhelmed. Over time, the species kept losing numbers until finally, the last one had fallen. Megalodon was no more. Megalodon may have been gone, but the sharks were still around. They weren't out of their endless battle for the title of apex predator. Despite their losses, they hung on. Now we come to today, where sharks are still around, holding the title of apex predator above their head. Sharks have had a rough time throughout history, but have prevailed the trials of evolution. Now they are one of nature's best predators. They are alive and thriving, with 440 discovered species, and that's only the discovered ones. Who knows what might be out there? Sharks have been around almost since the beginning of life on Earth, and hopefully we'll be there till the end. Wait, what? Orcas are the apex predator of the ocean? Son of a